everyone, I'm Carolyn. Welcome back to another episode of As I See It. If you clicked on this video because you recognize my face, just let you know, this is not about RV life. This is my political channel called As I See It. And if you don't want to hear my politics, you're probably going to click away, but I hope you'll stick around because I share things based on historical fact. I studied history, I studied political science, I studied economics, and today, especially, I've got opinions for sure, but they are backed up by fact that I'm going to share with you today. I want to talk about JD Vance, and specifically something that he says over and over and over again in all of his campaign speeches, and I was listening to an interview with him the other day, and literally in a 10-minute interview, he probably said a dozen times, the anti-family Democrats.
That this is not about criticizing people who, for various reasons, didn't have kids. This is about criticizing the Democratic Party for becoming anti-family and anti-child.
Because you do criticize, as you just did, the Democratic Party for being anti-family.
I do.
You called out Kamala Harris and Pete Buttigieg in particular.
Those sarcastic comments were made in the service of a real substantive point. This country has become too anti-family.
JD Vance isn't the only Republican, the only MAGA Republican to say this. It seems to be a popular talking point among Trump supporters that you need to vote for us because the Democrats are killing the family. They're anti-family. I find that really interesting and not true for a number of reasons, but remember, anytime MAGA accuses Democrats of something, it's a confession. But let's talk about being anti-family. What does it really mean in hard, cold facts, in legislation and laws that are on the books? What does it really look like to be anti-family? Let's talk about that. First of all, MAGA Republicans blocked tax relief for American families by voting against expanded child tax credits. So following a Senate vote of the Tax Relief for American Families and Workers Act of 2024, which would have expanded the child tax credit, and in case you don't know, if you don't have children, the child tax credit gives parents with dependent children a break on their taxes. So that means they get more money in their pockets for things like food, housing, health care, all the things that children need. So if their taxes are lower, they have more disposable income for the things they want and need. Republicans voted against giving American families more money. They voted against families paying less in taxes. So they voted for American families with children, not single people, not single cat ladies, families. They voted against allowing them to pay less in taxes.
Those sarcastic comments were made in the service of a real substantive point. This country has become too anti-family. It's too expensive to afford a house. It's too expensive to afford groceries. Donald Trump and I want to change that.
They voted for them paying more in taxes. Okay? It's about how you look at things, right? So they voted against this expanded child tax credit, blocking a deal negotiated on a bipartisan basis that would have lifted as many as 400,000 children out of poverty in the first year alone.
Kamala Harris.
I criticize Kamala Harris for being part of a set of ideas that exists in American leadership that is anti-family.
This would have lifted nearly 500,000 children out of poverty in just the first year. So pro-life. So pro-life. Trump and Vance's Project 2025 agenda would go even further, raising taxes for middle-class families by $2,500 a year, and eliminating Head Start, which would strip away access to early childhood education for hundreds of thousands of children. So pro-family. So not only did they vote against a bipartisan bill to expand the child tax credit, giving families more disposable income to spend on things, trivial things like food and shelter, that would have helped more than 500,000 children get out of poverty, Project 2025, which, by the way, for those of you who are saying Trump is distancing himself from Project 2025, it's not really about him. It's some crazy right-wing people, radical people who, have a fantasy. It doesn't really have anything to do with Trump. Okay. Number one, Trump had Heritage Foundation people in his administration, the Heritage Foundation, who are the people in charge of, who created Project 2025. JD Vance wrote the foreword for the Project 2025. He wrote the foreword, okay? And Trump has spoken many times at the Heritage Foundation.
To be here tonight to celebrate this really wonderful foundation. Just a few months from now, you will mark the 45th anniversary of this esteemed institution. As Americans, we have inherited a special legacy of freedom, culture, laws, traditions, and values. Your organization is named the Heritage Foundation because you understand that our glorious heritage is the foundation of everything we hope to achieve. You understand that human progress must be built upon a firm foundation of timeless truths. And the most important truth our founders understood was this: freedom is not a gift from government. Freedom is a gift from God.
Here's the really fun part. How can you distance yourself from something that has your name in it 312 times? Project 2025 is over 900 pages long. Trump's name is in it 300 times. 312 to be exact. It's like once every 3 pages, right? Yeah. Every third page, Trump's name appears. How do you distance yourself from something that's written for you and about you by people that you have cozied up to, that you have hired, that you have chosen as your running mate? This idea that he's distancing himself from it is just another lie to get your vote, because he knows Project 2025 isn't popular even among former Republicans, and so he's trying to distance himself. He's lying to you to get your vote. Let's get back to being anti-family, those anti-family Democrats, right? The Senate GOP blocked a bill to protect IVF. What could be more pro-family than giving every medical option to couples who can't get pregnant on their own? Democrats and some Republicans introduced a bill to make sure IVF is protected, because since the fall of Roe v. Wade, it is at risk. People are saying they might get rid of IVF because I don't know why. Just because I guess they're so pro-family? I guess they're so pro-family that they want to take away the only tool for some couples to conceive. That's how pro-family they are. And how anti-family. I guess IVF, giving couples a way to have babies sounds so anti-family, doesn't it? Paid family leave. Let's talk about paid family leave, which means that when a couple has a baby, they're able to take time off work to care for that baby, because newborns are a lot of work. So paid family leave allows parents to take time off work without losing pay to take care of that baby. So imagine without paid family leave. If you don't have paid family leave, you have a newborn, which is a bunch of money, right? Diapers and food and things, clothes, all kinds of things, hospital bills. If you don't have paid family leave, you have to take time off work without pay. So you lose pay and you have the extra expense of a newborn. So paid family leave, why not? We get paid vacation, we get paid sick days, so why not expand that? If you're truly pro-family, why not expand that so that families don't have the burden of losing income when they have a newborn baby, or have the burden of, okay, well, baby's born, we got to rush back to work within a week because we're not getting paid. 13 states have on their books mandatory paid family leave. Any guesses what those 13 states have in common? Any guesses at all? As my mother used to say, you get 3 guesses, the first 2 don't count. Any guesses what the only 13 states that have family paid leave have in common? California, Colorado, Connecticut, Delaware, Maine, Massachusetts, Maryland, Minnesota, New Jersey, New York, Oregon, Rhode Island, and Washington. What do most of, if not all of those states have in common? If you guess blue, you're right. Democratically run. So anti-family to allow parents to stay home with their newborn and not go broke doing it. So anti-family. Red states don't have this. Red states run by Republicans who are supposedly so pro-family do not offer paid family leave. Here's another one. During the Trump administration, Republicans cut Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program benefits, or SNAP, for an estimated 688,000 people. Nearly 750,000 people lost or saw a drastic cut in their SNAP benefits. Families, probably I would guess a majority of them are working families who rely on these benefits to feed their families. Under the Trump administration, these benefits were cut. How pro-family is it to allow your children to starve? Next, so we had supply chain issues after the pandemic, and those supply chain issues affected the availability of formula for babies. Many babies drink formula, right? The House of Representatives passed a bill to create $28 million emergency fund to assist the FDA to increase baby formula capacity. 200 MAGA Republicans in Congress voted against it. We had supply chain issues. That's a fact. Things were cut down. Factories were cut down. Shipments from China were stuck in warehouses and containers all around the world because people were scared. Factories were shut down because of social distancing. I mean, the world shut down because of the pandemic. So we had supply chain issues of getting formula to American families, to babies. The House of Representatives wanted to remedy that. They wanted to help families. Democrats wanted to help families. 200 Republicans said, no, you know what? We're not going to fund that. It's fine that babies don't have formula. No. So pro-family. According to the National Institutes of Health, or the NIH, red states have higher infant mortality rates due to lack of legislation to help mothers with services, health care, and programs. Red states do not have the resources to help mothers who are pregnant, who give birth, so babies die after they're born. Babies die because red states will not help mothers with the services, the jobs, the health care, the programs that they need. Paid family leave. Therefore, Republican states have the highest infant mortality rates in the country. Not very pro-family, not very pro-life. Why is it that some of the biggest problems America has are in red states? Education, health care, infant mortality, mother mortality. What is that called? Especially black women who die. Why are those problems worse in Republican-run states? And if you don't believe me, do your own fact-checking. It's a fact. How pro-family are you if your babies are dying?
This is about criticizing the Democratic Party for becoming anti-family and anti-child.
Fully developed, born babies are dying. Mothers are dying. And in fact, infant mortality has risen 8%. This is infant, after birth, mortality of babies. We're not talking about a clump of cells or an embryo in a womb after 8 weeks. We're talking about fully born, carried to term babies. The death of those babies has risen 8% since Texas's abortion ban. So, who's anti-family? Democrats don't kill for full-term babies. There's no such thing as full-term abortion like they want to terrify you into believing. That's not a thing. But infant mortality is a thing. Mother mortality is a thing. When we put bans on abortion, women die, children die, babies die. Forcing women to carry pregnancies to term that are a danger to her life, her health, a danger to the baby's life. Forcing women to carry pregnancies of dead fetuses to term not only hurt the mother, they could also cause her to be infertile for the rest of her life. So when you're forcing women to carry dangerous pregnancies to term because you're pro-life, you're actually putting that woman's life at risk and the future of her family, the future of her being able to have a family, you're putting that at risk as well. That sounds pretty anti-family to me and anti-woman. So given all of these facts about how Republicans have demonstrated that they don't really care about families, you could even say anti-family, what do they really mean when they say Democrats are anti-family? What is the dog whistle there? What do they really, really mean? Well, judging by who JD Vance is, judging by what is in Project 2025, what they really mean is they don't like what our view of family means. They don't like that we're okay with gay and lesbian parents. They don't like that we're okay with single mothers who kick ass every single day. What they want in Project 2025, in fact, they say that they're going to give priority to families of a man and a woman with children. And in fact, Project 2025 is going to prioritize they're going to prioritize a family that is a traditional man and woman with children. That's it. We're going to repeal non-statutory sexual orientation and gender identity non-discrimination conditions on agency grants for adoption, restricting the ability for LGBTQ plus families and single parents to adopt and foster children. So that's what they really mean when they say Democrats are anti-family. They mean Democrats are for everybody having the right to be a parent. That means they are against our belief that a child should have a loving home, even if it isn't a man and a woman, even if it's two men or two women, or a single mother or a single father. That's what they really mean. They really literally want to go back to the 1950s where the man went to work every day, the woman was barefoot in the kitchen taking care of the kids. That's what they mean. That's what they mean when they say that Democrats are anti-family. We are not anti-family. They are the ones who are saying if your family does not look like we think your family should look like, we're not going to recognize you as a family. That's what that dog whistle of Democrats being anti-family means. They think anti-family is allowing two gay men to adopt a baby. What could be more beautiful than providing a kid a loving home? But that's not what they want. Project 2025 also affirms that families comprised of a married mother, father, and their children are the foundation of a well-ordered nation and healthy society. A well-ordered nation. A well-ordered nation. That sounds a little dystopic to me. That sounds a little Handmaid's Tale to me. So that's really what JD Vance and MAGA Republicans mean when they say that we are anti-family. And also, like I said, everything that they accuse us of is a confession. They are anti-family. They are pro-misogyny. They are pro-taking America back to the 1950s and earlier when women didn't have rights. What next? Women, again, are not allowed to have a home on their own. They're not allowed to get a credit card without their husband's signature because that's what this sounds like. If you are truly pro-family, you would give families all the tools they need to be able to conceive. You would give families all the tools they need to be able to afford to have children, to be able to afford to take time off, to care for those children. And they have vetoed every single one of those pieces of legislation that do that. They are not pro-family. Democrats are not anti-family. Republicans are pro-misogyny, pro taking America back to a time when marginalized communities had fewer rights and white men reigned supreme. That's what JD Vance and Project 2025 is all about. That's how I see it. How do you see it? Leave your thoughts below.